Hi Emily, thank you so much again for taking over chair yoga. I made this video for you. It's just like a little guidance of what we do in this class and what kind of like stretches and poses and things I do. And then you can obviously do the way you want this class, but I think this will be very helpful. And also, I'm not really creative with this class. I almost did not exactly, but very similar sequences every single week. So the stretches I show you here is sort of the basic things I do with them, and then sometimes I change and bring in different things. But they are very familiar with these stretches and these movements. So yeah, so you can use them, and I think that kind of like makes them feel comfortable because they already know this kind of like sequence. All right. So I usually just start the class sitting down. It's like a seated sort of relaxation, settling down and arriving to the class. So this is exactly the same what we do in your yoga classes, just sitting on a chair instead of child pose or any other position. So I let them just lean back gently to the chair, hands on your legs, gently relax your shoulders, your elbows. And I do everything with them. I close my eyes, I do the breathing, I do the movement, and I just like sort of instruct them through the whole thing whilst I'm also doing it. It's also kind of like my own practice too. If you don't want to do that, that's fine, whatever works for you. I find it easy, and I think they can connect to you a little bit better if you do it with them. Okay, so as you arrive, gently relax, close your eyes, and begin to notice your inhalation, your exhalation. And yeah, just do the same, perhaps as other yoga classes. Perhaps do a full body scan, notice your feet grounded through the floor, notice your ankles, your knees, notice your hips, your back leaning onto the chair, and then slowly guide them through. Notice your chest is expanding with each inhalation, releasing with the exhalation, da 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 da, all the things that you do. Okay, and then once we had this kind of like beginning, that is like, I usually spend about like 3-4 minutes here to settle down. If you want to bring a theme to the class or topic, then do it here. I usually don't have anything. It's really just simple breath and body connection. Okay, and then after that, like just gently blink your eyes open. Okay, wiggle your fingers, your toes. And for now, don't ask them to sit up or do anything extreme. Just keep, just keep being comfortable. Okay, and then just a gentle lift of the arms. Inhale as you reach, slowly lift your gaze, exhale, release. Okay, and then I do 3 cartwheels like this, synchronizing the breath with the movement, lifting the gaze. Again, these are like very slow and gentle and mindful movements. So after the 3 cartwheels, I have this kind of system that I start the practice with the neck, shoulders, arms, and spine and back and chest, and then lower body, and then we move into a few bit more complicated and difficult sort of positions. So it's a quite easy to remember system. So you can start off with your neck, let them leaning back on the chair, just stay still very comfortable. I usually start off just tucking your chin in, dropping your head forward, breathing through the back of the neck. Inhale, lifting the head, opening the front part of your throat, and then exhale. So a few rounds of tilting back and forth with the breath, then a few rounds of looking over the shoulders, synchronizing it with the breath, and giving all these cues and little guidance to them, that like, oh, notice how this feels on the right side, notice how this feels on the left side, if there is any more tension on one side or the other, and things like that. And you can also do circles, like full circles or just semicircles. All right, so it's all about the neck at the beginning. And then I ask them to sit up. Okay, now find the toe seat, adjust your seat, so sit somewhere into the center of the chair. The reason you want that, because you need some space between your back and the back of the chair for things like seated cat-cow and, rounding and stuff like that. So adjust your seat, find the toe seat. Okay, and then we still moving, we still work on the neck and the shoulders. Is just a different position. So we are a bit more active now here. Okay, and then you can do stuff like reaching up and over, interlace your fingers, bring your hands behind your back and tuck your chin in, elbows in, up, things like that. You can also do, once you're here, maybe lean to the right, lean to the left, a few rounds of this. Okay, you can also release, simple shoulder circles. So you see we still at the neck and shoulders. You can also bring your arms behind your back, interlace your fingers, and I'm mirroring them, so you probably do that in your classes as well. So when I say move your fist to the right, when I'm moving my fist to the right, I say them move your fist to the left. So yeah, this mirroring, that they got used to it. So yeah, and then you can do stuff like dropping your ear to the right, maybe just hanging on in here. This is actually quite nice. I haven't done yoga for a few days, so it's really nice at the moment. All right, and then you can do stuff like tuck your chin in and back, you know, just gentle stretches for the side of the neck, expansion for the side of the neck, back of the neck, and then just simply switch, moving to the other side, to the right, maybe just hanging on in here, and give them options. So for example, when we here, you can say like, oh, if it feels good, you can just hang on in here, or maybe gently tuck your chin in and back. So they like to have like this gentle guidance and slow and steady sort of like movements. It's a very like slow paced, gentle class, so you don't need to rush, you don't need to over explain it. It's more just little cues. You can keep quiet a lot, and then, you know, just enjoy the stretches. Okay, and then come back, and then what else? For the shoulders, sometimes I do arm up and then hook from below and bring it over the chest, so stretching through the outer shoulder and breathing through the shoulder. We stay here for about 3-4 breaths. Sometimes I tell them, okay, now as we arrive, just make sure that you release, and you can even close your eyes and gently notice how this stretch feels, how far you can go, blah blah blah. Okay, and then you release, and then you go to the other side. Same here. Oh, notice this gentle stretch. Make sure you're not, and little cues, make sure you're not twisting with this, but keeping your, you know, spine straight and really focusing on your shoulders, and this and that. Okay, and then so I worked shoulders, we worked the neck. Sometimes I do simple internal external rotation. So inhale, lift, forward, palms back, exhale, inhale, exhale, external rotation, inhale up, exhale, internal rotation, inhale up, exhale, external rotation. So like a few rounds with the shoulders, and yeah, and then I do seated cat-cow. So bring your hands on the top of your legs. So moving now to the spine. So as you see, we started with our neck, with our shoulder, with the arms. You can also do wrists and fingers, and then moving to the spine. So that's exactly why we need space between the back and the chair. So bring your hands onto your legs, and then simple cat-cow. Inhale, chest up, open, exhale, roll in. And again, this is quite slow, and they like to be guided through it. Sometimes I tell them do it at your own pace if it feels like that's the right thing on that day. But most of the times I actually guide them through about like 4 rounds of cat-cow. So inhale, gently expand, and exhale, slowly release. Slide your hands down onto your legs, tuck your chin in, release the back of the neck. Inhale, vertebrae by vertebrae, rolling up, lift your gaze, open the heart. Exhale as you roll forward and down. Slowly coming back, inhale, lift your gaze, open the chest, shoulders back, and exhale, and like around 4 rounds of this, or 5. Okay, and then after this, maybe I do a seated cobra, bringing the hands behind, just planting the heels of the palms to the chair, just simple arching the back, pressing the hands into the chair, slowly opening the chest, the front body forward and up. Lift your gaze and really breathe through the front body, breathe through the chest, and then we stay here not longer than 3 rounds of breath. Okay, and then after this, exhale, you roll forward and you move into an easy ragdoll. So you can start to roll forward and down, release, maybe sway a little bit side to side, release your back, your lower back, your shoulders, let your arms be heavy beside the body. And then after a few breaths in here in ragdoll, And we slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae, begin to rise up. Inhale, big stretch overhead, lift your gaze, and then exhale, release. Okay, and then after this, we do side body stretches. So again, we did the neck, we did the shoulders, we did the arms, the wrists, fingers, and then we did cat-cow, cobra, and now we can move a little bit more intense stretches for the side body. So inhale, reach up and over, gently press. And here when you do the side stretches, remind them to keep pressing the sitting bone to the chair, because what happens is you start to lift up, and then you just remind them little cues to like keep pressing your sitting bones to the chair, reaching overhead. Okay, reaching through the fingertips, exhale down, inhale up, and then exhale, release, inhale. And it's quite important actually to find a rhythm to your class. So it's a moderate, well, it's a slow paced class, but it doesn't have to be too slow. So you don't want them to, you can actually challenge them. I think the more you can bring into the class, the better it is. So I usually do about around like, if it's both sides, like one side, then I do, let's say, 3 rounds on each side. If it's just like one movement, like cat-cow, the same, I do like 3 or 4, and then moving to the next one, if that makes sense. So 3 or 4 rounds of breath and 3 or 4 rounds, depends on the movement. So I don't stay, what I'm trying to say, I don't stay too long into the position. So okay, this is chair yoga for limited abilities, but they can actually do quite a lot, and they like to be like full, like a full body sort of like stretch, and you know, feel that kind of like change at the end of the class. All right, that was just a side note. So we are here, so we do the side body stretches, reaching a few rounds in here with this. Gently, and then you can also do stuff like inhale as you reach overhead, interlace your fingers, point your palm up towards the ceiling, big stretch in here, and then exhale as you round the back. And as you arrive in this, so this is how we look here, like the back is nice and rounded. You don't need to come to the side, just you know what we do. Maybe you do it in your yoga classes too. So inhale up and then exhale, round and press your palms forward. Open the space between the shoulder blades towards the back of the chair. Okay, and then inhale as you reach up and over, and exhale, release. Whew, these are nice big stretches. And then sometimes I just tell them like, okay, for example, after this, inhale, exhale, press, 2-3 deep breaths in here, just static, and then inhale, coming back up, big stretch in here, maybe a little arch for the front body, and then exhale, release. And then I usually just let them, okay, let's shake it out, just feel around the movement, see how you feel, if your neck is a bit more loose, your shoulders, your hands. All right, so and then we're more or less done with the upper body and the neck. By this time, you're gonna be in 20 minutes in the class at least. So it's actually going quite fast, and 45 minutes is not a long time. So this is why you can actually go quite quick with these exercises and movements. All right, and then moving to our lower body. Way more limited what we can do in here, way less options. If you are more creative, maybe you can find more stuff to do with them. But what we usually do, well, start with a simple forward fold. So I just like tell them to, you can straighten your legs, maybe completely straight or slightly bent, and then inhale, exhale, forward fold. We stay here for about 2-3 breaths, and then slowly vertebrae by vertebrae up. Inhale again, exhale, rolling forward and down, just same here. Once again, inhale, exhale. So I usually do a forward fold with them 3 times, just very simple, like that. Then after the 3rd round, we just sit up, and I ask them to bend your knee on the right, and then keep your left leg straight, open, widen your hips perhaps a little bit, adjust your seat. So you can always sort of like tell them to like, okay, adjust your seat a little bit, and then just a simple half split, hands on the leg, inhale, lengthen, lift the chest, and exhale, it's more like pivoting at the hips, slowly sliding the hand down, and I give them options. You maybe stop halfway through. If you feel more comfortable, you can also go deeper, roll over the leg. Same here, you can remind them to keep pressing your sitting bones gently to the chair, relax your shoulders here, notice your hamstrings, and then we stay here for about 3 breaths, slowly coming back up. I ask them to bend your knees, bring your legs together just to reset the spine. Big stretch overhead, exhale, release, and then moving onto the other side. So the same here, rolling forward, breathing through it, and after 3-4 rounds, coming back. Same again, bend your knee, inhale up, exhale down. Okay, so that's one thing for the legs. After that, you can do stuff like interlace your hands under the leg, lift it up. Okay, ankle circles, point and flex. I'm speeding up a little bit here because I don't know what the memory is like on my iPad, so maybe it's gonna cut off, hopefully not. All right, so lift your leg up, ankle circles, and then I do a bit of strengthening with them as well. So you can do stuff like that, like inhale, lift, hold for a second, sorry, and then exhale, release. Okay, and I show it more like to the side. Okay, so here, inhale. So keep your upright position, shoulders relaxed, inhale here, exhale as you lift, and then hold there for a second, and then I kind of like remind them, notice your quads nice and strong. Okay, and then exhale, release. Inhale, lift it up. Oh yeah, that's the inhale. So inhale, lift it up, hold it for a second, this is strong. Exhale, release. And if you do it quite slow, you will feel it too. Like these are like seemingly very simple movements, but because they are older, they have limited abilities, it's gonna be quite hard for them, or you know, they're gonna feel it. But even I feel it, so you know, it is actually not that easy. So inhale as you lift and hold there for a second, and then notice your quads, and then exhale, release. Okay, so after this, doing few rounds, lifting and bringing back down, simply release, maybe move around, and I sort of do them to tap it out. Moving to the other side, lift, same here, inhale, exhale, inhale, hold that for a second, exhale, release, inhale, hold it for a second, exhale, release. Okay, and then after that, I sort of do is like, okay, now let's hold this. So you're gonna come back to the first side, lift the leg up, inhale as you hold. Okay, and then we hold here for 3 breaths, and I give them the progression option that if you want to try, you can also release and then find the strength. And then some will do want to release because it's a bit harder. Okay, and then after, release. And so that's kind of like a simple leg lift and hold for about 3-4 breaths. Other side, inhale, lift it up. Okay, and then inhale as you hold, lift, and then hold, and then if you want to release, 1 and 2. Okay, and 3, exhale, release. Okay, and then tap it out. All right, another strengthening that I do with them, that's more like the core. You can ask them to adjust your seat, lean back onto the chair, keep your legs straight. Okay, so there's kind of like this hollow body, and then you can sort of, well, first just do leg lift, simple like that with the breath, few rounds, not too fast. Just inhale, hold for a second, exhale, inhale, exhale. Okay, and then I tell them, okay, we're gonna lift the both legs up together. If that doesn't feel right, we're gonna have 2 rounds. You can do one in one round and then the other round. But if you can, try to lift both legs off the ground and focus on your core. Don't rely too much on the chair. Okay, so you're gonna inhale, lift it up, and then we hold for about 3 breaths. So this is actually quite hard for them especially. Okay, and then exhale, release, and then we do another round, because if someone chooses to do only one single leg, then they have to do the other leg too. All right, so you're gonna come back and then inhale as you lift. Okay, and then breathe for 2 and 3. Okay, and then release. Okay, and then so we work a tiny bit on the core as well. Okay, and then I sort of sometimes give them options, ease up a little bit, sway your knees side to side. Okay, now just as a reminder for you what just happened here, because I think I'm going really fast. After the neck, the shoulders, the arms, the cat-cows, the side body stretches, the seated cobra and things like that, we move to the lower body. So we started with 3 rounds of forward fold, and then after we came back, bend one knee, widen the stance, a little half split stretch on both sides. There's a reset in between. Okay, and then after we do lifting the leg up, do the ankles. Okay, and then kick and back for 3 rounds, and then hold. Same on the other side, kick and back for 3 rounds, and then hold, and tap it out. Okay, and then And then after we did a little bit of the core, leaning back, like straight, lifting it up, hold 2 times. And yeah, basically that's all for the legs for now. I also do a reclined pigeon. Sometimes I skip this one because I'm not sure if they feel the glutes. I ask them, do you feel your glutes? And then sometimes they don't say anything, and I'm like, maybe it's different for them, because I really feel my glutes when I do this. So reclined pigeon, or well, seated pigeon. So bring your left ankle over the right knee, adjust your seat, flex your foot. Okay, I also tell them, like, if it doesn't feel right, you can keep your feet planted because we will add the arms anyways. But lift it up, inhale, arms overhead, big stretching here, and exhale, leaning forward. So this looks like here. So you're keeping your spine straight and then just leaning in a little bit. Okay, and then you remind them to like reach upward towards the ceiling, keep stretching through, shooting through the fingertips, extension for the spine, so you can really feel your glutes. And again, sometimes they don't say anything, so I'm not sure if this is the same for them. Okay, and then after this, exhale, release, and just roll forward. I kind of ease up, 1 full round of breath in here. Then again, inhale as you reach up and over, exhale, and then roll forward and down and ease up, and then sitting up again. Okay, then after this, you can go to a cross leg position, so pigeon, then cross leg. We're moving to a twist. Inhale as you reach up and over, exhale to a twist. We stay here for about 3-4 breaths. Then inhale, arms up and over, exhale here, and then from here straight to eagle. So arms forward, you can bring one arm in, the other. I kind of like give them the option to have the shoulders or the back of the arms. And then eagle, it's always different what I do with them. Sometimes I do like a few up and down with the elbows to find the shoulders. I always do rolled in eagle, so you can roll in and we stay there for about 3-4 breaths. They usually just do this, so just hugging themselves, that's fine. So you stay here, and then when you're coming out, inhale, big stretch up and over, exhale, release, and then big cartwheel overhead, and then exhale, release. And then ease up, that's it. So it's basically a free pose mini sequence in here. Starting with pigeon, twist, and eagle. So other side, I just do it in one row, so you kind of remember. Okay, so let's do our pigeon. Lift your ankle over the knee, flex your foot. Okay, adjust your seat. Inhale, arms overhead, you're gonna lean in, exhale, keep reaching towards the ceiling, stretching through the glutes, and then exhale, full roll in, 1 full round of breath here, in and out, and then coming back up in here, inhale, stretching over, exhale, leaning in, okay, breathing, and then release, easing it up. Okay, and just simply sit up here, slide your knee after the on the top of the other, inhale, big cartwheel overhead, back straight to twist, exhale to your twist. Okay, and then you stay here, obviously you guide them through the twist, pressing gently the hand to the knee to the hand, finding the thoracic spine, things like that. Okay, and then coming back, inhale, big stretch overhead, reset the back, exhale, release, arms forward, and then eagle on the other side, so right in, left on the top, find your eagle arms, and whatever you did with them, maybe elbows up and down, or just simply pushing the elbows forward and staying still. Okay, and then after rolling in, and then this is actually quite nice, you find this extension in your back. Okay, and then coming back up, maybe a tricep stretch in here, and then exhale, release, big cartwheel up and over, and exhale, release. Okay, and then after this, so these are the basics, and by this time you're gonna be already half an hour or even more, 35 minutes in the class. So it's going really fast. Okay, and then this is kind of like the last sort of like part of the class. I do goddess with them and certain movements in goddess, and then we do warrior 1 and warrior 2. And basically that's it. So we are here in Goddess, so you know, widen your legs, adjust your seat, okay, and so find your position to seat. And how I usually start here is bringing the hands on the top, fingers pointing down, little bit leaning in, and then we're moving to a back twist. So inhale here, exhale, left shoulder in, look over the light, right. Inhale, come back to the center, exhale, right shoulder in, look over the left. Okay, and then you do a few rounds on each side with them, moving with the breath. I really like this one. Okay, and then after, I usually just do a ragdoll, drop your hands into the center, roll in, and here there's more space to just sway. So it's a kind of like, it's a bit of a balance between like control movement and some kind of like ease up and spontaneous like swinging and releasing. Okay, and then we're coming back up, 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 up. Inhale, reach up and over. Exhale, release. And then here we do side body stretch, dropping the forearm to the leg. Inhale, reach up and over, and maybe just stay here. Keep reaching through the fingertips, or sometimes we do big cartwheels, 3 rounds. As you probably noticed, this like 3 is a good number in this class. 3 rounds of breath, 3 rounds of movements, 3 cartwheels. That's quite like a good number. Okay, so cartwheel is when you're reaching and then exhale down. Inhale, reach up and over. There's a big stretch in here. Exhale down. Okay, so you do the 3 rounds. Okay, and then you just simply exhale, sit up, and then moving to the other side. Inhale, reach. Again, remind them for the sitting bone. Keep pressing your sitting bone to the chair, so don't lift up. Okay, and then reach, and then whew, cartwheels, cartwheels with the breath, obviously, and then coming back to the center. Okay, here there's also opportunity to do more legs. By the way, you can do this with legs together too. It's the calves. So just keep a tall seat, chest up, shoulders relaxed. Okay, and then inhale, lift it up, little squeeze. Exhale as you release. And we do like maybe around 3-4 rounds. Just lifting, inhale, lift, squeeze. Exhale, gently release. And then the last round, I usually let them hold for about 4 breaths. So inhale, lift, and hold, gentle squeeze for 1 and 2. So I sometimes count like this, and 3 and 4, and release. Okay, pedal it out, ease up. You can also do a little bit swaying right, left and right. You can do so many things in Goddess, similar to like a standing practice. You can interlace your fingers, maybe roll forward and down, or eagle arms in Goddess, figure 8 in Goddess, and stance. So basically it's sort of variety of the upper body. The legs stays as it is. You can do like 1 leg heel lift, or sometimes I do sort of like a half split again with a wider hips. I don't know, I think it's quite like, it's quite difficult. I don't know why. Actually, it's a good stretch, but yeah, with a wider stance, you really have to remind them to sit on the chair because it's really coming off. Okay, so you can do this from Goddess. Obviously, reset the spine in the center, then on the other side. Okay, and then what else you can do in here? Oh yeah, you can do wide leg forward fold. So you can tell them to like, oh, maybe come a little bit towards the edge of the chair, keep your legs wide. And just, I like to use the word slide your hands down, because in that way they can really control how far they can go. And also remind them that it's coming from more like from the hips rather than rounding the back. So hands on the legs, inhale here and exhale, slowly slide, 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 maybe stop halfway through, that's all okay. If this is how far you want to go, if any of you want to go further. And sometimes, you know, joke around, oh yeah, it's a bit like a balancing practice as well, to try to stay on the chair. Okay, and then you slowly come back up, and then basically that's it in Goddess. Okay, and then after Goddess, we can move immediately to Warrior 1. Okay, and this is kind of like the peak, not the peak, this is the end. We are getting really to the end of the class. So Warrior 1, you're gonna roll your right knee in and begin to adjust your seat. Don't need to over-explain because everyone knows what they're doing. We've done this kind of like sequence for years, and there's nothing new for them if you do these movements, unless you do something new. Okay, so find change your position. Your hips are pointing towards the side of the seat. Drop your knee down, and if you feel a bit more flexible or any of you want to go further, you start to press your heel back and then extend your hips at the front. They really just go as far as it works for you today. Okay, then you can bring your hands at your heart center. If it was enough for the shoulder today, you can stay here or inhale, reach up and over. This is a big stretch in here. Okay, and then so they usually do this. They don't really extend the legs, only a few of them. So just let them sort of just to be here, arms overhead. Okay, then do 3 things in Warrior One. So we are here, shooting through the fingertips, maybe even look up if they can. Okay, and then after that, exhale, release, and we do Humble Warrior, arms behind the back, interlace the fingers, or maybe fist to fist or elbow to elbow. And then take a deep breath in, exhale as you roll forward and down. So you have like a little, it's just like for one breath. If they maybe, it's a bit awkward, but they do it and we can do it. So I like to do it with them. Inhale, arms up and over, and then we move into a little back bend. So you can drop the hand down and then maybe just shoot your fingertips towards the ceiling, or maybe if you can, even a little bit leaning backwards. Some can do, some are really limited. So maybe some will look like this, and that's okay. Some will look like this, more like, that's okay. So they do what they can. Okay, and then, okay, and then exhale, release. And then we just simply switch side. So just turn around, switch sides, adjust your seat. And again, some of you, if you want, you can sit on the edge of the chair or maybe on the top. Although no one really sits on the top. So yeah, just like sitting at the edge of the chair here. And again, if you want to go further, you press your heel back, extend a little bit your hips, hands at your heart center. Inhale as you reach up and over, and then I guide them through, like, notice how you feel. This is Warrior One, where your breath is, what your body like, full body awareness, and finding some stillness, blah blah blah, all the things. And then you come down again, hands at your heart center, Humble Warrior. Inhale, roll the shoulders away, maybe fist to fist or elbow to elbow. They know already, so no need to over explain. Exhale as you roll. Okay, one breath in here. Inhale, coming back up, swing the arms up and over. Exhale, hands down at your heart center. And then we're moving to our mini back bend, hands on the hamstring. And then you're reaching up and over here, big stretch. And then exhale, release. Okay, and then bend your knee a little bit, move around your hips. Whew, okay, and then we are at the end, and usually the last pose is Warrior Two. And some of them really like to do standing poses at the very end. Usually we don't have time for that, but I'll tell you more about this. So the last pose, Warrior Two. So basically similar to Goddess, we widen the hips and it's just simply straighten one of the legs, so the left leg. And I don't really worry about putting the toes down or anything because it can be very awkward for the knee. So I just simply tell them to keep your toes lifted. So it's only your heel is on the ground. So it looks like, it looks like this, and then arms wide. This is Warrior Two. All right, so we are here, widen your knees, keep your toe up, arms wide, maybe readjust your shoulder, rolling back and down, then palms back into the center, looking over the shoulder. Okay, and then in Warrior Two, again, it's more about finding stillness, finding the breath, looking at the top of the hand, finding the drishti. And you can really tell things like that, like drishti, the fixed gaze on a non-moving point, all the things that you say in a yoga class, because this is a yoga class. Okay, so you kind of like reach through the fingertips, say your cues, whatever you say in Warrior Two. And then sometimes I do reverse Warrior Two and side angle here. Depends if you want, not always, but obviously you can do reverse Warrior Two, and then you can do extended side angle or extended side angle, and then coming back to the center, simply bend your knee, simply straighten the other leg, easy, simple as that. Arms wide, looking over the shoulder, again finding stillness, how it feels on this side of the body, if does it feel better, or energetically where you are, all these kind of things. And then maybe reverse Warrior Two, big stretch for the side body, reaching through the fingertips up, and then maybe side angle or extended side angle if you want and if you have time. Okay, and then coming back to the center, whew, and then bringing the legs together a little bit, ease up, and I kind of like at the end, like I kind of like them, okay, shake it out, run the movement, see how you feel, your upper body, your lower body, and this is like 45 minutes, and sometimes I skip many of the stretches that we did at the beginning and the middle at the end, and I intentionally leave 5 minutes at the end of the class to do some standing asanas. There's one woman particularly that she doesn't like it, Joan, so don't worry about her. Because she's happy just to stay seated, but everyone else who usually comes in the class and regular, they can do standing. So if you design this class for yourself and if you want to do more standing, I would say the last 5-8 minutes of the class could be easily standing. So for example, okay, I have like still like 5-8 minutes, let's stand up. So I do stuff like, and I'm just showing this to you like super quick. But I can help you with that if you need, but I think you know what you're doing. So basically sometimes standing tree pose with the support of the chair, and then I kind of like encourage them maybe lift one arm of the chair or both if you have the balance. Okay, so we do that, and then sometimes we do standing goddess, maybe a little bit swaying side to side. Okay, heel lifting goddess, maybe both heels. Okay, and then we do, sometimes I just do simple balance, so you switch your weight to the balls of the feet, lift the heels up, little squeeze on the top, exhale down. Sometimes we stay here up and just finding the calves, and maybe encourage them like, okay, if you want to try to lift your one hand or both hands, even just for a second. Whew. We do pyramid. So the chair basically stays at the front, and then you're just like working around, so you go forward and down. You can have like actually quite a lot of space in here. We do sometimes even like warrior two. It's like, sounds as super easy, but they are actually like struggling sometimes to find their balance in standing, so they do need the chair. And then if they feel confident, then you kind of like sort of like ask them, okay, if you want, you can lift your arm up. You can do a triangle, and I'm sure there's more, but again, we don't do often standing. You can also ask them, talk to them. I'm sure they are super happy to get some variety. You know, you will develop your own style. It will take at least a few weeks, if not a couple of months. So really be patient with yourself, and yeah, you can always ask them like, what did you like? You know, I'm a new teacher here. What did you like in this class? What, you know, do you want to go faster? Do you want to go slower? Did you like the music? So yeah, and then they are happy to tell you. All right, but if you don't have time for standing, if you remember, we finished in warrior two here, and then after I release, and then okay, this is the end of the class. Let's just shake it out, few random stretches, whatever you feel. See how you feel now, if you're a bit more loose. And then okay, and then let's come back where we started, and then you're gonna lean back onto the chair, which is basically seated shavasana. Hands can stay on the legs, like it, you know, palms upward, but it can be down as well. And you're gonna close your eyes and just do exactly the same what you do in your yoga classes in shavasana, saying the same things. Full body scan, full body relaxation. I sometimes do a short visualization with them at the end. If there is time, that's usually about just imagine a bright big sun in your core, and then it's full of positive energy, and then it starts to spread, and then it's going down and it's coming up, and you know, guiding them through sort of things. Maybe it's like 2-3 minutes of guided visualization at the end. But you don't have to do that if you don't want to. You can just simply, you know, close your eyes, gently. Okay, after such an effort, let's see if we can relax. And yeah, this few last minutes is just chilling and relaxing, and yeah. All right, that's all the class. I hope this was helpful. Yeah, I will just very quickly in few minutes will show you what I've just done in here, because I think that's helpful. But if you don't want to watch it, that's fine. I'll do it anyways. Okay, so I'm not going to over explain it this time. Starting, relaxation, connecting to the breath and body, opening the eyes, 3 cartwheels, just lifting the arms, lifting the gaze, release, neck, still leaning back to the chair, tuck, 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 looking over the shoulders, swaying left and right, full body circles, so anything for neck. Then you ask them to sit up, okay, and then you can move to the shoulders, shoulder circles. You can ask them to change position, arms behind the back, neck stretches like this, for shoulder, like this. Sometimes I do like triceps, side body stretch like that. And can do internal, external rotation, side body stretches, reaching over the head, arms overhead, palms overhead, rolling back, holding it, lifting it back up, releasing, seated cat-cow, seated cobra, pushing the chest forward, ragdoll, okay, sitting up. Anything else? Sometimes I do arms as well, or just wrists like this, if you want to, and then legs for 3 rounds of forward fold, and then half split with a reset in between, and then we do leg lift, ankles, point and flex, hold and lift, okay, and then the other side, and then we can do the core, leaning back, legs straight, okay, and then first a single leg lift, and then after 2 rounds of together, holding it up with the breath, finding the strength, okay, and then we can do reclined pigeon, leaning in. From reclined pigeon we can do twist, and then we can do the eagle arms, whatever works, and then up again, and then release. Again, on the other side, reclined, leaning in. I usually do 2 rounds of this with a little break in between, and then after twist, inhale, exhale, and then eagle, inhale, arms down, and then exhale, whatever you want to do in eagle, and then release. Okay, and then we're moving to goddess. Okay, adjust, maybe heel lift together, separately. Okay, you can do shoulder twist, you can do side body stretches, you can do ragdoll in here, you can do interlaced finger rolling in, you can do half split again, you can do wide leg forward fold, and then we move into warrior 1, arms overhead, and then here maybe a heart opening warrior 1, or then a humble warrior, or back bend, or yeah, things like that. Turn around, same here, warrior 1, and then yeah, humble warrior, so all the things, and then warrior 2. Remember, toes are still off, wide hips, arms wide, and maybe reverse warrior 2 and extended side angle. And then basically these are the basics, the main things. And then if you have time, or if you intentionally want to standing, then just keep an eye on the clock, because the time is going really fast. And if they want to do standing, you need to sort of like skip a few things. Okay, and then seated shavasana, a few last movement and last stretches if you feel anything still needs to be stretched, and then basically that's it. You guide them through shavasana, visualization, and then I usually just finish it like hands at your heart center. Okay, let's take a last deep breath here together to finish this class. Inhale softly, you can keep your eyes closed. Inhale softly, exhale, release. All right, and then blink your eyes open. Thank you so much. That was us for today. Excellent work. Let me know if you have any questions, if you want to talk to me. I'm open for any, you know, any opinions and this and that. And they're gonna probably come and talk to you, and then they give you the money. So it's £3 every time. You don't need to go up to the office every day or every Friday. What I usually do, I collect the money for a month, and then the last day of the month, sometimes it's 2 months, but like I try to do it monthly, and just collect the money and go up to the office, which is just the next building, and yeah, and then you give them the money, and you invoice Hips Community Foundation just the same way how you invoice your classes in other leisure clubs. Whew. All right, Emily. I hope this was helpful, and or this will be helpful. Please do not stress that you have to do exactly the same sequence. You don't, and again, maybe it's helpful because they already done this, but I'm sure that, you know, they are open to any new movements, any new poses, any new energy. One advice here is that don't go too slow. It's easy to think that because it's limited ability, you know, they just really slow, but they actually like a full body stretch. And don't take it too seriously. You can, you know, just joke around. Even if there's not much reaction, they like sort of like, you know, just to have this easy, comfortable vibe. And yeah, and talk to them. Really, I think the secret of this whole chair yoga thing, the more they sort of like, or you guys like each other and develop some kind of like relationship, the more they trust in what you do, and yeah, and then they will be happy to do anything basically. All right, that's us. I send you the contacts and everything. Any questions? If you need anything else from me, let me know. And yeah, good luck. You will be excellent. Bye, Emily.